Have you ever wondered what it feels like when someone plans your entire life without asking? Chioma thought her Korean CEO was just being professional. She had no idea Daejung Park had spent 2 years learning Igbo, buying out her ex's family, and building a fortress around her life in Seoul. He didn't just offer her a job. He orchestrated her escape from Lagos before she even knew his name. Was this protection, or has she already lost before the game even started? Hit that subscribe button now, because in the next 24 hours, everything Daejung has been hiding will surface. And once Chioma discovers what he's done, there's no walking away. 3 hours earlier, it had started with a package. 9:47 p.m. Seoul's executive floor was empty except for Chioma and the ornate gift box that had arrived at 6:47 Lagos postage, Tun's handwriting. Her ex-boyfriend. The man she'd spent 5 years with. The man she'd fled to Seoul to escape 6 months ago. And now he'd found her. She'd been staring at that box, hand hovering, reaching, pulling back, reaching again. She knew, with the certainty of a woman who'd learned every shade of his manipulation, that opening it would cost her something. She just didn't know what. Behind her, Seoul's nighttime skyline blurred through rain-streaked windows. The office was silent except for the hum of air conditioning and her own shallow breathing. She should throw it away. She'd been telling herself that for 3 hours. But she didn't. And that's when her office door opened. She didn't hear footsteps. Didn't hear the lock disengage. But suddenly Daejung Park was there, standing in her doorway like he'd materialized from shadows, backlit by harsh fluorescent lights. No suit jacket. White shirt sleeves rolled to his elbows, revealing forearms that shouldn't look that dangerous on a man who spent his days behind a desk. Tie loosened. Top button undone. He looked like he'd been working for hours. But his dark eyes were sharp, focused entirely on her with an intensity that made her throat go dry. 3 hours and 14 minutes. His Korean accent makes every word sound calculated. That's how long you've been alone with a decision you should have made in 3 seconds. Her stomach drops. How did you? Security feeds. He steps into her office with deliberate precision. You've touched that box 47 times without opening it. You touched your left collarbone 11 times. That's what you do when you're scared. The observation lands like a physical touch. She drops her hand from her collarbone. Mr. Park, this is my personal. Tan Dadayemi sent it. His voice goes cold. Arrived at 6:47 p.m. Which means he knows where you work. Knows your floor. Knows you're still here after hours. He moves closer, close enough that she can smell cedar and bergamot. Tell me, Chioma, if you were safe, would you have spent 3 hours staring at a box? The question cuts through every excuse she's been telling herself. I was going to throw it away, she whispers. No. He stops 2 feet from her desk. You were deciding if going back to Lagos would be easier than staying in Seoul with a boss who terrifies you. Her breath catches. You don't. I terrify you because you've never met a man who pays attention. Who notices that you take your tea at exactly 90 degrees Celsius. Who knows you're fluent in 3 languages, but you count in Igbo when you're stressed. Who's been watching you for 3 hours through security feeds, waiting to see if you'd choose the past or the future. Before she can respond, he picks up the gift box with 2 fingers, opens it without hesitation, and pulls out a jade bracelet. Fake jade. 14-karat gold plate over brass. He holds it to the light. Even his apologies are lies. Then he hurls it against the Italian marble floor. The sound of glass shattering echoes through the empty executive floor like a gunshot. Jade fragments glitter across polished stone, destroyed before she even had a chance to decide. You can't just, her voice comes out higher than intended. That was a test. He drops the empty box into her trash bin. The sound is final, absolute. He sent it to see if you'd accept. To see if 6 months of silence made you vulnerable enough to let him back in. He miscalculated. How do you know what he? Because I've intercepted 46 other attempts. Emails. Texts. Voicemails. A visa complaint filed 3 days ago claiming your employment here is fraudulent. His expression doesn't change. He's escalating. This gift wasn't an apology. It was reconnaissance. The words hit her like cold water. Visa complaint. Fraudulent employment. My visa is legal. Completely legal. Which is why his complaint will fail. He pulls out his phone, shows her a document. But he didn't know that this morning, when I purchased the Adeyemi Group's entire 22% stake in this building complex. As of 9:15 a.m., Tund Adeyemi has no power here. No access. No leverage. Her legs suddenly feel unsteady. You bought out his family? This morning, the moment I learned about the visa complaint. His voice softens, which somehow makes it more dangerous. You didn't know that when you opened his package. You thought he still had reach. That's why you've been touching your collarbone. The accuracy is unnerving. I touch my collarbone when you're scared. I know. You've done it 11 times since I walked in. His gaze drops to where her fingers have unconsciously returned to her skin. You're scared right now. Not of me, of how much you want someone to finally make decisions for you. The words should offend her. They should make her angry. Instead, they sink into her chest like stones dropping into deep water, settling somewhere she doesn't want to acknowledge. From this moment forward, he continues, voice dropping to something intimate and absolute. You accept gifts only from men who understand your value. Which means, Chioma Okafor, you only accept gifts from me. Mr. Park, this is completely inappropriate. Call me Dae-young. He says it like he's drawing a line in sand. And it stopped being inappropriate 2 years ago when I decided that if I ever got you away from that man, I would never let you settle for mediocre again. 2 years ago. The words register slowly, like puzzle pieces she didn't know she was missing. I don't understand. You will. He heads for the door, pauses. Go home. Your apartment building's security has been upgraded, new cameras, new protocols. You're safe. And tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m., you're meeting me in the executive conference room. Tund arrives at 2 p.m. You need to understand what's about to happen before he walks through that door. Then he's gone, the door clicking shut with a finality that echoes in her chest. Chioma stands alone in her office, surrounded by shattered jade and the smell of cedar cologne, and realizes her hands are shaking. Not from fear. From something infinitely more dangerous. The next morning, Chioma arrives at Hansung Global at 7:15 a.m. She tells herself it's professional punctuality. That arriving early has nothing to do with the fact that she barely slept, her mind replaying the look in Dae-jung's eyes when he said you only accept gifts from me. The executive conference room door is already open. Dae-young sits at the head of the table in a charcoal suit that probably costs more than her monthly rent, reviewing documents with the focused intensity of a man who hasn't slept either. 2 coffee cups sit on the polished mahogany, one in front of his seat, one in front of the chair directly across from him. You slept 4 hours and 17 minutes, he says without looking up. REM cycle was interrupted twice, both times at 2:34 a.m. and 4:12 a.m. She stops in the doorway. Excuse me. Now he looks up. The smart mattress in your apartment has sensors. Medical grade. Tracks sleep cycles, heart rate, breathing patterns. You were restless. Her mouth opens. Closes. Opens again. You put sensors in my bed? How else would I know if you were safe? His tone suggests this is perfectly logical. You could have had nightmares, fallen, stopped breathing in your sleep. Dae-young. His name feels strange in her mouth, too intimate for 7:15 a.m. in a corporate conference room. Normal people don't track other people's sleep cycles. I'm not normal people. He gestures to the coffee. Sit. 3/4 full, oat milk, no sugar. Exactly 90 degrees Celsius. Drink it before it cools. She crosses to the table, picks up the cup. It's perfect. Of course it's perfect. The first sip is exactly the temperature she prefers, hot enough to feel, cool enough to drink immediately. She didn't tell him she likes it this way. Which means he's been watching, learning, cataloging. We have 6 hours and 43 minutes before Tund arrives, Dae-jung says, sliding a thick folder across the table. Before we discuss what I'm going to do to him, you need to see what he's been doing to you. Her stomach clenches. What do you? Open it. She does. Inside are printouts of emails, text messages, voicemails. All from Tund. All sent over the last 6 months. All intercepted before they reached her. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You owe me an explanation. If you don't respond within 48 hours, I'll make sure no one in Lagos hires you again. Your mother is worried about you. She thinks you're having a breakdown. Maybe she's right. Her vision blurs. The words swim on the page, vicious and familiar. 47 attempts to contact you, Dae-young says quietly. The visa complaint was his latest strategy. Before that, he tried to have your apartment lease terminated, claimed you were subletting illegally. Before that, he called your mother 3 times, pretending to be concerned about your mental health. Chioma's head snaps up. My mother never told me. Because I called her first. For times. Explained the situation. He pauses. In Igbo. The words land like a physical blow. You speak Igbo? Enough to tell your mother that her daughter is safe. That the man harassing her is lying. That I would handle it. His expression softened slightly. She's a sharp woman. She understood immediately. She also said she wants to meet the Korean man who actually listens when women talk. Her exact words. Something inside Chioma's chest cracks open. He spoke to her mother. In Igbo. Protected her from Tun's manipulation before she even knew it was happening. Made himself responsible for her safety across continents and languages. Why? The word comes out broken. Why would you do all of this? Dae-young stands, walks around the table with measured steps, and crouches beside her chair. This close, she can see faint shadows under his eyes, tension in his jaw, the barely controlled intensity that radiates off him like heat. Because 2 years ago in Lagos, I watched you dismantle a shipping crisis in 3 languages while your boyfriend checked Instagram. I heard you coordinate ventilator shipments for 3 West African nations over the phone at 2 a.m., your voice steady even though you'd been awake for 36 hours. I saw brilliance, competence, strength. And I decided, if I ever had the power to protect someone like that, I would. No matter what it cost me. His words hang in the air between them, heavy with promise and possession. You've been planning this for 2 years? Her voice is barely a whisper. Every detail. Your visa application, I personally expedited it through channels that normally take 18 months. Your apartment lease, I own the building. The exact blend of chrysanthemum tea you prefer, I have it imported from a specific farm in Jeollanam-do. He pauses. And before you think about running to HR, I already disclosed our relationship to the board last week. We don't have a relationship. The silence that follows is thick enough to cut. Rain begins to fall outside, tentative drops against glass that will soon become a storm. Somewhere in the building, elevators hum to life as the morning shift arrives. We do now, he says softly, standing. You just don't know it yet, but you will by 2 p.m. He returns to his seat, picks up a different folder. Tun thinks he's coming for a negotiation about his family's building stake. He doesn't know I bought them out. He doesn't know I have documentation of every threat he's made. He doesn't know that when he walks through that door, he's walking into a trap. Chioma's pulse quickens. What are you going to do? Give him 2 choices, both of which end with you free. His eyes meet hers across the table. But you need to decide, do you want to be in the room when it happens? Or do you trust me to handle it alone? The question is a test. She knows it. He knows it. And her answer will tell him everything. She thinks about 6 months of silence. About waking up at 3 a.m. wondering if she made a mistake leaving Lagos. About the gift box on her desk and the 3 hours she spent unable to decide. Then she thinks about the man who learned Igbo to protect her mother. Who tracked her sleep to make sure she was safe. Who bought out an entire family's equity stake because someone threatened her visa. I'll be in the room, she says. I want to see his face when he realizes he lost. Dae-jung's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. Pride, maybe. Or satisfaction. Then we should discuss strategy. He opens the folder. Because when Tund Adeyemi walks through that door at 2 p.m., I'm going to destroy him. And I want you to watch. At 1:58 p.m., Chioma sits in the executive conference room trying to control her breathing. Dae-young sits across from her, perfectly still, hands folded on the table. He looks like he's about to conduct a routine business meeting. But she can see the tension in his shoulders, the dangerous focus in his eyes. Remember, he says quietly, you don't speak unless I explicitly ask you a question. You're here as a witness, not a participant. No matter what he says, you stay silent. What if he? No matter what he says. His voice is gentle but absolute. Trust me. The door opens at exactly 2 p.m. Tund Adeyemi walks in like he owns the place, all Lagos swagger and expensive cologne. He's wearing a designer suit that probably cost less than Daejung's tie, and his smile is the same one he used when he wanted something from her. Charming, confident, entitled. Chioma. Baby, you look. His eyes sweep over her. Wow. Seoul is treating you well. She doesn't respond. Daeyoung told her to stay silent, and she's going to listen. Tun's smile falters slightly. He turns to Daeyoung. You must be Mr. Park. Thanks for agreeing to meet. I know you're busy, so I'll get straight to. Sit. One word. Ice cold. Tund blinks. Right, yes, of course. He pulls out a chair. So, I wanted to discuss. You're not here to discuss anything. Daejung's voice could freeze fire. You're here to listen. Then you're here to choose. Then you're here to leave. The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Tund laughs nervously. With all due respect, Mr. Park, I think there's been a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. You filed a false immigration complaint against Ms. Okafor 3 days ago. You've sent 47 harassing messages over 6 months. You attempted to have her apartment lease terminated. You called her mother to spread malicious lies about her mental health. Daeyoung slides a stack of documents across the table. Every message, every call, every threat. Documented. Tun's face goes pale. Those were private. Nothing about harassment is private. Especially when it crosses international borders and involves fraudulent government filings. I filed a legitimate concern about visa fraud. You lied to immigration authorities. Daeyoung's voice doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. Ms. Okafor's visa was processed through official channels. Her employment contract was reviewed by 3 separate law firms. Her credentials were verified by both Korean and Nigerian authorities. Every document is authentic, which makes your complaint a federal offense. The silence that follows is deafening. Chioma watches Tun's confident mask crumble, piece by piece. She spent 5 years with this man. 5 years watching him charm and manipulate and slide out of consequences. But he's not sliding away from Daejeong Park. Look, Tun says, trying to recover. Maybe I was hasty. But you have to understand, Chioma, and I had something real. 5 years. I just wanted to. You wanted to punish her for leaving. Daejeong leans forward slightly. Let me tell you what you actually did. You harassed a woman for 6 months. You filed false legal complaints. You attempted to sabotage her career and her family relationships. And you flew to Seoul thinking you still had leverage because your family owned equity in this building. He pauses, and Chioma sees the exact moment Tund realizes something is very wrong. Owned, Tund repeats slowly. Past tense. The Adeyemi Group sold their entire 22% stake this morning at 9:15 a.m. I purchased it. Which means you have no power here. No access. No leverage. You're not here because I need to negotiate with you. You're here because I wanted you to understand exactly how thoroughly you've lost. Tun turns to Chioma, desperation bleeding into his voice. Baby, you can't let him do this. We had something. Tell him we had something real. Don't look at her. Daejeong's voice drops to something deadly quiet. Don't speak to her. You lost that privilege 6 months ago when she chose herself over you. Chioma, please. She stands. Her legs are shaking, but her voice is steady. I choose him. I choose silence over your noise. I choose obsession over your indifference. I choose a man who learned my mother's language over one who couldn't remember my favorite color after 5 years. Tun's face crumples. You're choosing a stranger. I'm choosing someone who sees me. The words come from somewhere deep and fierce. That was never you. That will never be you. Daejeong stands, and the meeting is clearly over. You have 2 choices, Mr. Adeyemi. Choice 1. Withdraw your immigration complaint today. Sign a legally binding agreement to cease all contact with Ms. Okafor. Release a public statement admitting your complaint was filed in error. In exchange, I don't pursue legal action for defamation, harassment, and fraud. And choice 2. I release documentation of every threat you've made to the Nigerian Business Association, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, and every company your family does business with. I personally ensure that Tund Adeyemi becomes synonymous with man who destroys women's careers when rejected. He pauses. Your family's reputation will take years to recover. Your personal reputation never will. 30 seconds of silence. Then Tund reaches for the papers. Where do I sign? Security escorts tunned out at 2:47 p.m. The door closes. Rain pounds against the windows. And Chioma realizes she's holding her breath. Is it over? She asks. The meeting. Dae-young is watching her with an expression she can't read. Yes, but I need to ask you something before we leave this room. Her pulse quickens. What? You said you'd choose me. In front of him. On record. He moves around the table slowly. Did you mean it? Or were you just trying to hurt him the way he hurt you? The question stops her cold. She could lie. Could say it was strategy, performance, a tactical choice to end the confrontation. Could maintain her distance and her safety and her control. Instead, she tells the truth. I meant it. I don't know when it happened. Maybe when you learned Igbo. Maybe when you called my mother. Maybe when you destroyed fake Jade without hesitation. But somewhere between Lagos and Seoul, I stopped running. And I'm terrified because I've never been pursued by someone who won't get bored after the chase. His expression shifts, something fierce and possessive and almost vulnerable. Then come home with me, he says quietly. Let me cook for you. Give me one evening to show you what devotion actually looks like. And if after tonight you want boundaries, I'll give them to you. She knows this is the moment. The choice. The line between professional and personal, between safe and dangerous, between alone and claimed. Drop a comment below if you'd let him cook for you. And hit that like button if you're Team Dae-young, because this story is about to get intense. Okay, she whispers. His eyes close briefly, like she just delivered a blow he's been waiting for. Then let's go home. His apartment is nothing like she expected. No cold minimalism. No corporate sterility. It's warm, wooden floors, traditional Hanji paper screens, walls covered in family photos. His grandmother making kimchi. His parents laughing at a wedding. Siblings crowded around a table piled with food. Your room is the second door on the left, he says from the kitchen, where he's already pulling ingredients from the refrigerator. Private bathroom. Lock on the door. I installed a second lock this afternoon, keys on the dresser. She stands in the doorway, confused. You installed a lock today? You need to feel safe here. Locks provide that. He starts chopping vegetables with precise, practiced movements. Even if they're protecting you from me. Something in her chest twists. I'm not afraid of you. He stops chopping. Looks at her directly. You should be. A little. I'm not a safe man, Chioma. I'm a controlled man. There's a difference. I'm controlled because I choose to be, because discipline is the only thing standing between appropriate and obsessive. But make no mistake, I am obsessive. About work. About family. About you. The honesty is disarming. How obsessive? She asks. I've been carrying a photo of you in my wallet for 2 years. I know you count in Igbo when you're stressed. I know you prefer the left side of the bed because you sleep facing the door, a habit from growing up in Lagos. I know the exact temperature you like your tea, the specific blend of chrysanthemum you prefer, and that you touch your left collarbone when you're scared because that's where your mother used to rest her hand when you were a child and needed comfort. Her breath catches. How do you? Because I pay attention. Because once I decide something matters, it matters absolutely. He returns to chopping. Now sit. Let me cook. And if you want to leave after dinner, I'll call you a car. She should leave. Should maintain distance. Should protect herself. Instead, she sits at the small table and asks, what are you making? My halmoni's doenjang jjigae. She taught me that food is the first language of care. He adds ingredients with the precision of someone who's done this 1,000 times. She's been asking about the Nigerian girl who makes me check my phone every 5 minutes since Lagos. Chioma freezes. You told your grandmother about me 2 years ago? I tell her everything. She's the only person who understands obsession. He smiles slightly. My Harabiaji pursued her for 3 years before she agreed to marry him. He waited outside her university every day with homemade kimbap. She calls it traditional courtship. They were married for 52 years before he died. And you think you're worthy of that kind of love? He turns off the stove and faces her fully. I think I'm determined enough to become worthy. Every day. For as long as it takes. The words settle between them, heavy with promise. You can't just say things like that, she whispers. Why not? Because it makes it impossible to keep my distance. Good. He hands her a bowl of steaming stew. Now eat. And tell me why you're still fighting something we both know is inevitable. She takes the bowl. The smell alone is enough to make her mouth water, rich, savory, complex. She takes a bite, and it's perfect, warm and comforting, and exactly what she didn't know she needed. Because inevitability scares me, she admits. Because I spent 5 years with someone who made me feel like I was too much. Too loud, too ambitious, too opinionated. And now you're sitting here saying I'm exactly enough, and I don't know how to trust that. Then don't trust it yet. He sits across from her with his own bowl. Trust the Dunjang Jigi. Trust that I called your mother. Trust that I learned Igbo for you. Trust the small things until the big thing feels possible. She looks at him across the small table, this dangerous, controlled, obsessive man who somehow makes her feel safer than she's felt in years. Okay, she says. I can do that. They eat in comfortable silence, and for the first time since leaving Lagos, Chioma feels like she might be able to breathe. The next 8 days unfold like a fever dream. Day 2. She wakes to find chrysanthemum tea outside her locked door. No note. Just tea at exactly 90 degrees Celsius in her favorite cup. Day 3. He leaves for Busan at 5 a.m. She hears his footsteps pause outside her door, hears him hesitate, hears him walk away. The apartment feels wrong without him, too quiet, too empty. She hates that she notices. At 2 p.m., her phone buzzes. Dinner is in the fridge. Second shelf. Heat for 4 minutes. Don't skip meals just because I'm not there to watch. She stares at the message for 5 minutes before responding. How do you know I skip meals? Because you did it twice in Lagos. Once during the ventilator crisis. Once after your fight with Tund about the promotion you deserved. You skip meals when you're stressed. So eat. The accuracy is unsettling. The care behind it is more so. But then at 9 p.m., her phone rings. Unknown number. Lagos area code. She shouldn't answer. She knows she shouldn't. She answers. Chioma. Tund's voice, slurred with alcohol. Baby, please. Just talk to me for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Her stomach drops. How did you get this number? Doesn't matter. I just need you to understand, what we had was real. I made mistakes, but we can fix this. Come home. We can fix this. Tund, you signed an agreement. Fuck the agreement. I'm not giving up on us. Your Korean boss might think he owns you, but he doesn't. You're mine. You've always been mine. The possessiveness in his voice makes her skin crawl. I was never yours, she says quietly. I was just too tired to leave. She hangs up, blocks the number. But her hands are shaking. She texts Dae-young, he called. I blocked him. The response is immediate. Did he threaten you? No. Just drunk and pathetic. I'm on the next train back to Seoul. Don't leave the apartment. Security is monitoring the building. You're safe. You don't have to. Yes, I do. I'll be there in 2 hours. He arrives in 90 minutes. She hears his key in the lock at 10:47 p.m. Hears him move through the apartment, checking windows, checking locks. Then a soft knock on her bedroom door. It's me. She opens the door. He's still in his business clothes, tie loosened, jacket missing. He looks exhausted and furious, and something else she can't name. Are you okay? He asks. I'm fine. He was just drunk. Did he make you feel unsafe? The question is so direct, so devoid of polite deflection, that it cracks something open in her chest. Yes, she admits. Not because of what he said. Because he still thinks he has a right to me. Even after everything. Dae-jung's joy tightens. He doesn't. And I'm going to make sure he understands that so thoroughly he never calls again. What are you going to do? Nothing illegal. Everything effective. He pauses. But first, are you okay? Really? She looks at this man who cut his business trip short, who took a train for 90 minutes, who's standing in her doorway asking if she's okay like her answer is the only thing that matters. I'm better now, she says honestly. Something in his expression softens. Good. Now lock your door and sleep. I'll be on the couch if you need anything. Dae-young. Yes. Thank you. He studies her for a long moment. Always. For anything. No matter what. Then he's gone, and she's alone in her room with a lock she didn't engage and a certainty settling in her bones that she's already in too deep. Day 4. She cooks jollof rice using ingredients that mysteriously appeared in the kitchen overnight, the exact brands she used in Lagos, down to the specific type of Scotch bonnet peppers. When he returns from the office, he smells it from the elevator, walks into the apartment and just stands there, watching her cook like she's performing surgery. "Teach me," he says. Not a request. A plea. They cook together. She corrects his technique. He listens like she's revealing state secrets. They argue about whether gochugaru or Scotch bonnet is superior for heat. Neither concedes. Both are smiling. At one point, their hands brush reaching for the same spoon. The contact lasts less than a second, but feels like an eternity. "Your hands are always cold," he observes. "Poor circulation. My mother says it's genetic." "I'll remember that." He says it like a promise. Day 6. She finds him asleep at his desk at 3 a.m., laptop still open, documents scattered across the surface. His face is pressed against a contract, and there's something vulnerable about seeing him like this, unguarded, human, exhausted. She finds a blanket in the closet and drapes it over his shoulders. He catches her wrist before she can step away. His eyes are still closed. "Stay. You're dreaming." "No. I'm awake enough to know I want you here." His thumb brushes the inside of her wrist, finding her pulse. "Your heart is racing. Because you startled me." Liar. But he releases her wrist. "Stay anyway. Just for a minute." She should leave. Should maintain boundaries. Should protect the distance she's barely holding onto. Instead, she sits in the chair next to his desk. "1 minute. Thank you." They sit in silence. His breathing evens out. She tells herself she'll leave when he falls fully asleep. But somewhere between intention and action, she closes her own eyes. When she wakes, it's dawn. She's in her bed, sheets tucked around her, lock engaged from the inside. But she didn't lock it, which means he carried her, put her to bed, locked the door from the outside to keep her safe even from himself. Control. Care. The line between them keeps disappearing. Day 8 is when everything changes. Rain pounds against the windows. Thunder rolls in from the mountains. It's past midnight and Chioma can't sleep. The apartment is too quiet, her thoughts too loud. She finds Dae-young at the living room window, whiskey in hand, staring out at Seoul's glittering skyline. "Can't sleep," he says without turning around. She joins him at the window, leaving careful space between them. "Bad day. Difficult day. There's a difference." He takes a sip of whiskey. "My father called. Asked about you. Wants to meet you." Her heart stutters. "That's a lot." "I know. I told him it's too soon. He said I'm being foolish, that if I've decided you're the one, waiting is just pride." He finally looks at her. He's not wrong. The words hang in the air between them, heavy and dangerous. "Am I?" Her voice comes out smaller than intended. "The one. You've been the one since Lagos. The question isn't whether you're the one. It's whether you'll let yourself be." It's only been 8 days. It's been 2 years and 8 days. His voice is fierce now. "Don't pretend the clock started when you moved in. It started the moment I heard you save lives over the phone and decided I'd spend the rest of mine making sure someone protected you the same way." She backs up a step, her spine hitting the wall. "You can't just decide someone is yours." "You're right. I can't." He sets down his glass and moves closer with that same deliberate precision he uses for everything. "But you can decide you're mine. And you already have." "I haven't." Day 3. You miss me when I was in Busan. Day 4. You cooked for me, used the ingredients I bought for you, accepted that I know what you need. Day 6. You didn't lock your door from the inside. I checked. You left it unlocked. For me. Thunder cracks overhead. Rain lashes the windows. The lights of Seoul blur into streams of color. And right now, he continues, stopping close enough that she can feel the heat radiating off his body. "You're standing here instead of walking away. You're letting me back you against a wall. You're terrified not because you don't want this, but because you do." Her breath comes faster. What if I'm wrong? What if you wake up in 6 months and realize I'm not worth the obsession? Then I'll be wrong. But I've never been wrong about you. Not once in 2 years, 4:16 p.m. He cages her in with his arms, but doesn't touch her. "What do you want from me right now, Chioma? Tell me. Whatever it is, tell me." 5 seconds of silence. 5 seconds that feel like forever. I want you to stop running, she whispers. I want you to stop controlling every moment and just what? Just want me. Without strategy. Without plans. Without thinking 5 moves ahead. His eyes darken. You think I don't want you? You think every conversation, every meal, every locked door is about control? I'm not controlling this because I don't want you. I'm controlling this because I want you so much that if I stop thinking 5 moves ahead, I'll cross every line I've drawn to keep you safe. Safe from what? From me. From how much I want to claim you. From the fact that I've imagined kissing you approximately 473 times and every scenario ends with you completely mine. The specificity should be alarming. Instead, it's intoxicating. 473 is very specific. I count everything that matters. You matter most. He leans closer, and she can smell whiskey and cedar and rain. So tell me, do you want me to keep counting? Or do you want me to stop thinking? Her heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat. What happens if you stop thinking? I kiss you. Right here. Right now. And 14 days becomes forever. Your room becomes our room. You become mine and I become yours and everyone in Seoul knows it. His voice drops to something raw and honest. So before I stop thinking, before I cross every line I've drawn, tell me no. Tell me to stop. Tell me you want the distance you keep pretending you need. She looks up at him, at this dangerous, controlled, obsessive man who learned her language and protected her mother and counted every time he imagined kissing her. I can't. Can't what? Can't tell you no. Can't want distance. Can't pretend I don't feel this. His hand moves to cup her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. Then say yes. Say it clearly. Because once I start, I'm not stopping until you're completely, irrevocably mine. Yes. The kiss is inevitable. Like gravity. Like lightning striking the same place twice. Like coming home after years of being lost. His mouth claims hers with the same precision he uses for everything deliberate, thorough, absolutely consuming. She makes a sound she'll be embarrassed about later, and his control fractures. He kisses her like he's trying to memorize her. Like he's making up for 2 years of restraint. Like she's the only thing in the world that matters. When they finally break apart, they're both breathing hard. Bedroom, he says against her mouth. Yours or mine, choose. Yours. Think fuck. He kisses her again, and this time there's no hesitation, no careful distance. Just want, raw and honest and 2 years overdue. She wakes up in his bed. Morning light filters through gauze curtains, turning everything gold and soft. His arm is around her waist, his breath warm against her neck. She's wearing his shirt. Her hair is everywhere. And her neck. She touches the deliberate marks there and gasps. You're awake, he says, voice rough with sleep. She sits up, pulling the sheet with her. Did you, her fingers, trace the marks? Did you do this on purpose? Yes. She turns to look at him. He's propped up on one elbow, all sleep-tousled hair and bare chest, and completely unrepentant eyes. Daejung, I have to go to work today. Everyone will see. I know. You know? You did this knowing everyone would. Yes. Everyone will see. And they'll understand that you're mine. His voice is matter-of-fact. I'm not hiding you, Chioma. I'm not sneaking around. You're mine. And I want every person in that building to know it. That's possessive? Yes. But you knew what you were getting into when you said yes. She should be angry. Should be horrified. Instead, she feels something warm and fierce unfurling in her chest. I'm going to be the subject of every whisper. No, we're going to be the subject of every whisper. Because I'm walking in with you. Hand in hand. And if anyone has something to say, they say it to both of us. He sits up, pulling her back against his chest. I don't care about reputation. I care about you. And I care that you never doubt whether I'm proud of us. Because I am. I'm proud. She turns in his arms to face him. Your reputation as the controlled, perfect executive was never as important as my reputation as yours. I'd rather be known as the man obsessed with Chioma Okafor than the man too professional to claim what's his. The words should feel oppressive. Instead, they feel like freedom. You really don't care what people think? I care what you think. Everyone else is just noise. She studies his face, the fierce certainty there, the absolute conviction. You're impossible. I'm yours. There's a difference. She kisses him because she can't help herself. Because 8 days and 2 years of waiting have culminated in this. Morning light, tangled sheets, and a man who just claimed her publicly without apology. We should probably talk about what happens now, she says against his mouth. We go to work. Together. We face whatever comes. Together. He pulls back to look at her. And tonight, we come home. Together. That's what happens now. It's that simple? It's that simple. Everything else is just details. She wants to argue. Wants to point out all the complications. But looking at him, at the certainty in his eyes, she realizes maybe it really is that simple. Okay, she whispers. Together. Together, he agrees. Always. They walk into Hansung Global at 8:47 a.m. like they own it. His hand is firm on her lower back, possessive and unmistakable. Every head turns. The whispers start immediately, a wave of shock rolling through the lobby like wildfire. In the elevator, her friend Adiz takes one look at Chioma's neck and gasps. Chi. Girl, what-oh? Oh. Her eyes go wide. Is that who I think it is? Dae-young doesn't smile, but his voice carries a hint of satisfaction. Ms. Okonkwo. I trust you'll be discreet about Ms. Okafor's personal life. Adiz sizes him up with the critical eye of someone who watched her friend cry over one man already. That depends. Are you serious about her, or is this a powerful boss plays with employee situation? Because if you hurt her, I know people. Legos people. And we protect our own. I'm serious enough to introduce her to my grandmother next week. Serious enough to have already told my father she's not negotiable. Serious enough to stand here and answer your questions instead of pulling rank. He pauses. And serious enough to have transferred her out of my department effective immediately so her career advancement is based on merit, not on who she's sleeping with. The elevator goes quiet. Chioma turns to stare at him. You did what? Director Choi approved your transfer to strategy this morning. Same salary, better opportunities for advancement, no reporting relationship to me whatsoever. Your career is yours. No one can claim otherwise. Something in her chest cracks wide open. He thought of this. Arranged it. Gave up his professional authority over her to protect both her reputation and her future. Adiz's expression softens. Okay, I like him. He can stay. The elevator doors open on the executive floor, and they walk out together, only to find Mrs. Kim from HR waiting with her arms crossed. Mr. Park. Ms. Okafor. My office. Now. In the sterile white conference room, Mrs. Kim's expression is severe. She closes the door with deliberate finality. I'm going to ask this once, and I need complete honesty. She looks at Chioma. Are you entering this relationship freely? Without any pressure related to your employment, your visa status, or any other factor that might compromise your ability to consent? Yes, Chioma says without hesitation. Completely freely. Mrs. Kim turns to Dae-young. Mr. Park, you have significant power over Ms. Okafor's career trajectory. Had. Past tense. He slides a folder across the table. As of this morning, Ms. Okafor reports to Director Choi in strategy. I have no authority over her performance reviews, her salary, her projects, or her career advancement. I've removed myself from any professional power dynamic. Mrs. Kim opens the folder, scans the documents. This transfer was effective as of 7 a.m. this morning. Yes, before anyone in this building knew about our relationship. You planned this in advance. I planned for every contingency, including protecting her from accusations that she's succeeded because of me rather than because she's brilliant. His voice is steady. Ms. Okafor's competence is not in question. I'm ensuring no one can question it, including her. Mrs. Kim studies him for a long moment, then turns back to Chioma. Are you satisfied with this arrangement? Chioma's throat feels tight. He didn't tell me he was doing this. Because it was the right thing to do regardless of whether you knew. Dae-jung's eyes meet hers. Your career is yours. Your achievements are yours. I'm simply making sure everyone understands that. Mrs. Kim closes the folder. Then I have no objections. However, I'll be monitoring the situation. Any indication of coercion, any complaint, any concern, and we revisit this immediately. Understood. Understood, they say in unison. Mrs. Kim's expression softens slightly. For what it's worth, I've worked here 15 years. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Park voluntarily give up control of anything. That tells me something. As they leave HR, Chioma feels unsteady. The magnitude of what he's done is still sinking in. You gave up professional authority over me, she says quietly. I gave up nothing that mattered. I still get to cook for you. Still get to make sure you sleep properly. Still get to walk into this building with you every morning and walk out every evening. The rest is just corporate structure. But your influence in my career will be limited to making sure you have opportunities and then staying out of your way. I don't need professional power over you, Chioma. I just need you. The simplicity of it steals her breath. You're really not worried about people talking? Let them talk. He stops in the hallway, turns to face her fully. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. And anyone who thinks you're where you are because of me doesn't know you. That's their loss, not ours. She wants to kiss him. Wants to pull him into the nearest empty office and show him exactly how she feels about this impossible, thoughtful, obsessive man. Instead, she says, thank you. Always. For anything. He touches her face briefly, thumb brushing her cheekbone. Now go be brilliant in strategy. I'll see you at lunch. You're buying. I'm cooking. Your office, 12:30. Expect kimbap. She watches him walk away and realizes she's smiling. Adiz appears at her elbow. Girl, that man is in love with you. We've only been together 8 days. Try 2 years and 8 days. Trust me, I saw how he looked at you just now. Like you hung the moon and painted the stars. Don't let that one go. Chioma touches her neck, where his marks are visible even under her collar. I don't think he'd let me if I tried. Good, Adiz says. You deserve someone who holds on. That night, he takes her to meet his family. The Park family home in Gangnam is chaos incarnate, his mother immediately pulling Chioma into a tight hug, his younger sister Minesio bouncing with questions about Nigeria, uncles and aunts and cousins crowding around the table laden with more food than 20 people could possibly eat. But it's his grandmother who matters. Halmoni sits at the head of the table, ancient and sharp-eyed, her cane tapping against the floor to command silence. Let me see her. The room goes quiet. Chioma approaches, heart hammering. The old woman studies her for a long moment, taking in everything from her height to her posture to the way she holds eye contact. Then Halmoni speaks in rapid Korean. Daejung translates quietly. She says, "You're taller than expected. That's good. Short women make small grandsons. Can you cook?" "I make jollof rice that would make you cry," Chioma says clearly. Halmoni's eyes light up with delight. She switches to accented but clear English. "You teach me this jollof?" Chioma blinks. "You speak English." "Little. Enough." Halmoni taps her cane. "You teach me jollof, I teach you kimchi. Fair trade. Very fair." Halmoni turns to Dae-young, speaks in Korean. He translates, though his expression suggests he'd rather not. She says, "I like her." She doesn't bow and scrape like Korean girls who want to impress. She stands like a woman who knows her worth. "You chose well, but you took too long. 2 years is excessive even for a Park man." The family laughs. Minesio whispers something that makes several uncles choke on their drinks. Then Halmoni looks directly at Chioma. "You love my grandson?" The question hangs in the air. Everyone is watching. Even the children have gone quiet. Chioma could lie, could deflect, could protect herself with careful words. Instead, she says, "I'm getting there." He's persistent. Halmoni throws her head back and laughs, a sound of pure delight. Good. Make him work. Men who don't work for love don't value love. You make him work, you make him better man. She taps her cane again. Now, everyone eat. Too much talking, not enough food. And you, she points at Chioma. Sit next to me. Tell me about Nigeria. I want to know where my future great-grandbabies come from. Daejung's mother makes a strangled sound. Yama, they just started. And? You think I have time? I'm 93. I want to meet great-grandbabies before I die. She has good hips. Strong genes. This is efficient planning. The entire table erupts in laughter and protests, but Halmoni just smiles and starts filling Chioma's plate with enough food for 3 people. Under the table, Daejung's hand finds hers and squeezes. Later, on the drive back to his apartment, Chioma says, "Your grandmother is terrifying." She is. But she likes you. That matters more than you know. She talked about great-grandbabies. We've been together 8 days. She also waited 52 years for her husband to die before she let anyone else sit in his chair. When she decides something matters, time is irrelevant. He glances at her. Sound familiar? She can't help but smile. You learned that from her. Everything important, yes. Including that when you find the right person, you don't wait. You claim them. Is that what you're doing? Claiming me? Every day. In every way I can think of. And I'll keep claiming you until everyone understands. You're mine and I'm yours and nothing changes that. The possessiveness should bother her. It really should. Instead, it feels like safety. 3 weeks later, they stand on the rooftop of his apartment building under Seoul's autumn moon. The city glitters below them, endless and beautiful and full of possibility. The air is crisp, carrying the first hints of winter. My visa renewal came through, Chioma says. Officially approved. 3 more years, no conditions. I know. I may have personally called the immigration office to confirm. He's standing close enough that she can feel his warmth in the cold air. Of course you did. She turns to face him. That means I don't need you anymore. Not for visa security. Not for protection from Tund. Not for any of the practical reasons that brought me here. He goes very still. True. Which means if I stay now, it's just because I want to. No external pressure. No leverage. Just choice. Also true. She takes a breath. I could leave. Could go back to Lagos. Could build a life that's completely mine without any obligations to you. His jaw tightens, but his voice stays steady. You could. But I won't. She steps closer. Because for the first time in my life, I'm with someone who doesn't need me to be smaller. Who doesn't flinch when I'm loud or brilliant or opinionated. Who learned my language just to understand me better. His expression shifts, something fierce and vulnerable. You're obsessive, she continues. You track my sleep cycles. You know what temperature I like my tea. You bought out an entire family's equity stake because someone threatened me. You're controlling and intense, and you make decisions for me without asking. All fair criticisms. But you also see me. Her voice cracks slightly. Actually see me. And I spent so many years being invisible that I forgot what it felt like to be someone's entire world. He cups her face with both hands. You're not just my world, Chioma. You're my entire sky. Then ask me. Ask me what you've been waiting to ask for 3 weeks. He searches her face. How do you? Because I know you. Because you've been carrying something in your pocket since the day I moved in. Because you've been waiting for me to be ready, and I'm telling you, I'm ready. For one long moment, he just looks at her. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small velvet box. When he drops to one knee, her breath catches. I've been carrying this ring since the day you moved in, he says. 21 days in my pocket. 2 years in my planning. I told myself I'd wait until you chose me without pressure. And tonight you just did. He opens the box. Inside is a ring that makes her heart stop. Jade, real jade this time, carved with intricate patterns she recognizes. Nigerian symbols intertwined with Korean ones, east and west, merged into something entirely new. I'm not asking because your visa is secure. I'm not asking because my family adores you. I'm asking because I want to wake up next to you for the next 50 years and argue about whether kimchi or jollof rice is superior. His voice roughens. I want daughters who speak Igbo and sons who bow to their halmoni. I want to build a family that belongs to both our worlds and neither, something entirely ours. Tears blur her vision. I'm not proposing to trap you, he continues. I'm proposing to claim you. Officially. Publicly. Irrevocably. So that every person who ever made you feel like you were too much understands, you're exactly enough for me. You're everything. She wipes her eyes, and her voice comes out shaky. You're still doing the obsessive dragon thing. Always. Is that a problem? No. She laughs through tears. It's really not. Then answer the question I've been asking since Lagos. Marry me, Chioma Okafor. Be my partner. My obsession. My home. Say yes and make me the luckiest man in Seoul. 3 seconds of silence. 3 seconds where the whole world holds its breath. On one condition. His eyes flash. Anything. I keep my last name. I'm not becoming Chioma Park. I'm staying Chioma Okafor. He laughs, emotional and relieved, and so full of joy it makes her heart ache. I'd expect nothing less from my dragon. Is that a yes? Yes. God help us both, yes. He slides the ring onto her finger with shaking hands. Then he stands and kisses her like they're the only two people in the world. When they finally break apart, they're both crying. I love you, she says. I don't think I've said that yet. You haven't. I've been waiting. His thumbs brush away her tears. Say it again. I love you, Dae-young Park. I love your obsession. I love your control. I love that you learned Igbo for me. I love that you gave up professional power to protect my career. I love that you're impossible and intense, and you make me feel like I'm the only thing in the world that matters. You are. You always will be. They stand on the rooftop under autumn stars, and Chioma thinks about the gift box that started this. Fake jade from a man who never saw her. Real jade from a man who sees nothing else. We should call my mother, she says. I already did. This afternoon. Asked for her blessing. Of course he did. And? She said, and I quote finally, that boy's been in love with you since Lagos. I was starting to think he'd never ask. Chioma laughs, and it's the freest sound she's ever made. Later, back in their apartment, not his apartment anymore, but theirs, she calls her mother while he makes tea. Mama? It's me. Yes, I'm fine. Better than fine. I have news. Dae-young watches her from the kitchen, this brilliant, fierce woman who chose him back and knows with absolute certainty that every obsessive moment of the last 2 years was worth it. Because some treasures are worth waiting for. Some treasures are worth any price. And some treasures, when you finally hold them, turn out to be dragons too. If you made it this far, drop a comment. Would you say yes to a man this obsessive? And subscribe for more Afro-Korean stories that will keep you up at night, because when dragons fall in love, everyone's going to want to watch what happens next.